Hello everybody, welcome to the Sweeney Show, a legal and business podcast. Today in the hot seat is Sean McCarthy, an auctioneer with ERA Downey McCarthy, a fantastic auctioneer firm based on the South Mall in Cork City. Sean, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much
for joining us today. If you want to just tell everybody some information about yourself and your company, who you are and where you're based and all that kind of stuff.
Well, as you say, my name is Sean McCarthy. I work with a firm called ERA Downey McCarthy. We're located at 60 South Mall. I suppose, broadly speaking, we have 4 core areas of business: auctioneering, both residential and commercial. We cover the entire area of lettings and property management.
Okay.
We cover block management, and we have a financial services arm as well. So they're the 4 areas that we cover.
Very good. So if we were just to focus on today, someone might want to sell their home.
Yes.
So maybe it's somebody that's bought a house 10 years ago and they've now had family and children and all that, and the house is too small and they want to kind of maybe upgrade. Or maybe it's the opposite, that someone maybe has now their children are all now through the coop and they want to maybe downsize. What's the first thing I should think about in that? How do I pick the right auctioneer?
Okay, I would say there are probably 3 main factors I would suggest. Number 1, a larger office. I feel you're much better off going in a larger office rather than a sole trader, on the basis that just have more resources available to them.
So that's a large auctioneer office? So
yes, absolutely.
Well, it'd be 5, 6, 10 auctioneers, 5 auctioneers?
Yes, typically 5, 6 auctioneers on the road. So in terms of covering the viewings and all that kind of thing, they just have more resources to cater for your demands. Secondly, I would suggest use of technology. The use of technology, in my opinion, is key, and that's why, for example, we offer video as an option in terms of marketing.
It's huge at the moment, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, to certain firms.
Absolutely, yeah. I say at the moment we're probably one of the only firms offering that option in terms of a marketing campaign, and it really gives the buyers an insight into what they're going to see before they actually see the property.
I've actually seen some of your videos; they're fantastic. You have a Facebook page as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Downey McCarthy. So, for those that might know, like, what is technology? How do you use it to get the house? What are you doing with technology now?
Well, basically, we shoot a video of the property and we promote that through the various media, including Facebook and the various websites, My Home and that. So it gives the purchaser a real insight into the property before they go and see it. And also, you can get it out to a wider audience. I mean, in terms of My Home and that, for example, you have to be specifically searching for property on the on the webs to come across the property. Whereas on video and Facebook in particular, we can launch it out to the
and that's, you're kind of giving a walkthrough of the property, isn't it?
Absolutely,
the outside, the inside, and all.
Absolutely.
Really showcasing the property in its best case.
Absolutely. But I'd say of the 3 factors, I suppose the third and most important, in my opinion, is trust. You must be able to trust the agent you engage, because for most people selling their property, it's normally the biggest asset that they have. They want to realize as much capital value as they possibly can, so trust is key.
Okay, and then once say I've identified 2 or 3 auctioneers, I've met with them, and I feel that I've picked the right auctioneer, the best pick for myself. What then is the selling process? What's the from, I suppose, the first point of contact of the official engagement till the time the house goes sale agreed? What's involved in all of that?
Very good question. We give all our clients a document clearly setting out the entire selling process. Typically what you do is you agree terms and you sign what's called a PSA. PSA is a property service agreement. All agents are now regulated by the Property Service Regulatory Authority, and you must have a PSA on file. We typically do a brochure on the property, then outlining measurements, we do photographs, we do video, etc. Once that brochure is agreed with the client, then you launch to the market. And it means it goes on the various websites, you put up a for sale sign, you launch your video, you have your floor plans, etc., etc. We arrange viewings then. We typically give our vendors 24 hours notice on viewings. You have a bidding situation, hopefully. Once you get to the highest bid, then you'll be advising your clients accordingly along the way. But then once you go to the highest bid and all other bidders have withdrawn at that stage, you then go sale agreed. So you take a booking deposit at that point in time, and that's held in trust by the auctioneer. We typically then issue 4 letters of sale, which is a letter to the purchaser, a letter to the vendor, and a letter to both of their solicitors. The vendor solicitor then will issue contracts. The purchaser solicitor will have a number of pre-contract queries, and there will be correspondence between both legal firms at that point in time. Once all of those are resolved and answered, the purchaser signs contracts first. Okay, that's an important factor. The purchaser signs first. You then, as the vendor, sign contracts secondly. A closing date is agreed. You clear out the property, and on the closing date, then funds are transferred and the keys are handed over, and the transaction is complete.
Just a step back there. How does the pricing of the house? How does all that process take place? Where does the auctioneer? Because obviously I'm selling my house, I want to get the best price possible. I know Mary down the street, she sold her house 18 months ago and she got X amount. What is that? How it's done? Is it locality? Is it obviously each house is specific and it's unique in itself? But how are houses priced? How do those figures come about?
Generally speaking, property is priced based on comparables. Okay. So typically, on the way we would carry out our business, we initially visit the property, obviously inspect it, go through it with the vendors, find out their needs, their requirements. We would go away then and do our market research. That would allow us to see what properties sold in the area. We've already seen the property, we can compare those against properties that have sold already, and we will come back with a strategy in terms of a pricing strategy to make sure you get the most inquiries, the most viewings, and as a result, the best price. Okay, and then to, I suppose, make your job easier if we go to market and then make the house achieve the best possible price, what's something that a house owner can do to kind of improve things or make sure, with regards to cosmetic or anything in the house? Is there any tips you could give to present the house in the best way possible? Yeah, typically most houses, I mean, everyone's busy these days, most houses need to be decluttered. That's the main factor I would suggest. A fresh lick of paint can transform a house quite quickly. We're going to skip some Saturday and just dump whatever. Absolutely. Key also, if it's broken, fix it. Otherwise, your purchasers are discounting. If you have pets, I'm sure you love your pets, but not all the viewers will love your pets. So make sure there's no pets during viewings, and you just need to create a clean, warm, friendly environment in the house itself. Okay. So just on if it's broken, fix it. I'm selling my home. I don't want to invest too much in the property. Where's the point of, like, are we talking broken bathroom tiles? Is it a paint job, or like should the house be refreshed? Should you invest some money in to bring it to market, or is that an individual choice on the seller? Well, everyone's circumstances are different, but typically your agent should be able to advise you on that. And you know, there will come a point in time that you need to make a decision: is it worth investing to reap better reward? And your agent will advise you accordingly. You need to fix that. Ultimately, the vendor, being the vendor, has the ultimate choice whether they fix those things or not. You should take the guys from the auctioneer though. Absolutely. They're experienced. What are kind of then, I suppose, the pitfalls that a seller needs to watch out for? I would say there are probably two main pitfalls. Number one, most vendors don't engage their solicitor soon enough, in my opinion. And what that means then, and what it leads to, is that once you go sale agreed, then a lot of vendors are then informing the solicitor, oh, by the way, we've just sale agreed our property. There's several pieces of documentation that your solicitor will need. And that's a big thing with myself as well. We see it all the time with selling, that people, they kind of leave it till it goes sale agreed to inform the solicitor, and like there's a huge amount of information. One is the title deeds. So if there's a mortgage on the property, the title needs to be held with the original bank, so we need to get, authority needs to be written by the vendors to take up the deeds. If you have a mortgage on the property, we need the up-to-date redemption figure, because we need to know obviously that the sales price is going to beat the mortgage redemption, and the bank will release the charge. The NPPR certificate, which is the non-principal private residence tax, that was a tax in the country between 2009 and 2013. It's now since gone, but you still either need to have a receipt for payment of tax or certificate of exemption, and your local property tax. So, and how the local property tax works is, if you're selling your house now, you must pay the tax for the entirety of 2018, but you will be refunded back pro rata for whatever date. So if we closed on April the 10th, how many days that's in the year, you get refunded for the remaining 7 or 8 months in that. But you're correct, and like what I often find is that they're the things that slow up the process. And if everybody's if the solicitor's pre-informed, there's loads of time in advance, the process becomes a lot smoother. And by slowing up the process, then what happens typically is you frustrate your purchaser, and your purchaser is wondering, is this really going to happen? Should I be looking at another property? Because exactly the purchaser might be selling their own home as well. So, and then we're buying a house, so there might be 3 or 4 parties all trying to
it's a domino effect of timelines and closing dates and all that kind of stuff.
So it's key to engage your solicitor from the very get-go, make sure all paperwork is working as order, and make sure your solicitor is in a position to issue contracts within a timely manner once it goes sale agreed, not 6 and 7 and 8 weeks later and your purchaser is waiting out there in the wind.
What's the... When you engage someone and it goes to market and you put the sign up in the garden, that's called private treaty, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that a recommended, or the best recommended process to sell your home? Because I know you can sell it in auction and things like that. Or what's the best, right now in the market, what's the best thing to do?
Typically in Ireland and specifically in Cork, it's private treaty. And for most houses, and particularly residential property, private treaty is the way and is definitely the best way. There will be specific times that you'll use an auction, and there will be specific times that you'll use a tender, but they are rare and they're typically more suitable to commercial properties. But in terms of residential properties, private treaty is the norm.
Okay, and just what exactly is a tender?
Tender basically is a legal contract. It's issued to interested parties. They sign the tender and they submit the best price that they're going to pay for the property, and that contract.
So that's confidential between the proposed purchaser and the original vendor.
Absolutely.
They get maybe 5 bids, 10 bids.
Yeah.
They open them up and they just give it to the highest bid.
Exactly. But the contracts are signed at that point in time.
It's immediate. And so back to again, I'm selling my home. I've engaged ERA Downey McCarthy, Auctioneers. What's the fee scale, or what will I expect to pay to sell my house?
Yeah, in terms of fees, you'll have 2 fees really. You'll have a marketing budget, which covers all the agreed advertising campaign that you've agreed with your agent, and then you'll have a professional fee on the basis that the property sells.
Okay.
Typically, fees in Cork are varying between 1.5% and 2% of the sale price. Okay. That's subject to VAT, obviously. So take a typical property of 300,000, 1.5%, it's 4,500 plus VAT. I much prefer, however, a scale fee, so that your agent is paid on performance. It's an incremental basis. The more the agent gets you, the more they get a little bigger slice, so but you get a lot more.
You're motivated, a slight bit more.
And it's the one thing I would probably advise vendors: don't necessarily go for the cheapest fee. Because the cheapest fee does not usually guarantee the best price. And where you make the most money in property is by getting the best price, not the cheapest fee.
Okay, well Sean, that's great. Thank you very much for your time today. That's been really informative.
Very good.
We're going to put up Sean's details on the screen. If you want to contact Sean, we can get you on your website.
www.eracork.ie.
That's great. Listen, Sean, thank you very much.
Super. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.